What's going on, Chelsea fans? Welcome back to the channel. If you want Champions League football next season, the talking stops now. Tomorrow's game is a must win against Aston Villa. We are heading into Villa Park in sixth place, while Villa are currently in fourth, 6 points ahead of us. This is not a game that we can afford to drop points in. And if Liam Rosenior wants to prove why he's going to be the guy to take this Blue Co project forward for Chelsea and us as Chelsea fans, then he has to demonstrate that in tomorrow's game at Villa Park in the Premier League. This is literally a 6 pointer. If we don't win tomorrow, if we don't win against Aston Villa, kiss the Champions League next season goodbye. Win and the gap closes down to 3 points. Smash the like button, subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. Now, let's start with Unai Emery because Aston Villa, guys, they're having an absolute shocker at the moment in their midfield. I think it's Kamara out for the season. Yuri Tillemans is also out 8 to 6 weeks. John McGinn out for 6 to 8 weeks. Even their new boy Harvey Elliott is out injured, so they're going to probably rely on Ross Barkley, and maybe they have to go for some younger experience in George Hemmings from the bench. But they do have obviously Jadon Sancho. They've got some other players that they can bring into their team. Onana, Luis Buendia, and Rogers as well. So they do have players that they can still damage us and hurt us where it matters. But look, I think this is probably the perfect time to be playing Aston Villa because we know what Aston Villa is all about. Now, Unai Emery is very, very good tactically because Unai Emery can go from a 4-4-2 block, very compact. He can go to the 4-2-3-1, and he can also go to a 4-3-3. And he does that very well tactically, how he gets his teams to be playing the way that he wants them to play. Now, they play observably high defense line. They love to play high up in the opposition's half. But without Kamara and John McGinn in that press in that midfield, we have to find ways to get the likes of Cole Palmer and others in our team on the ball on the half turn, in between the spaces, and create something in this game. Because look, if there's a time to be playing Aston Villa, I think it's now. I think this is the time. If you ask an Aston Villa fan right now, would you want to be playing Chelsea? They'll probably say no. And we have to exploit that. We have to exploit all of their failings in this game tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we set up. Now, on to the Chelsea news. Now, of course, I spoke about it in the last video. Pedro Neto is suspended for this game and he won't be in contention to start. We also know from the press conference yesterday that Esteval and Jamie Gittins are still out with hamstring injuries. There is some positive news that Marco Correa is back in training. And of course, Romeo Lavia has been on the bench and did come on as well against Arsenal at the weekend. So he's back in contention to start one of the games. I think he has to. He played some under 21s football last week as well. He's been on the bench. He came on against Arsenal, was unable to impact the game. But it's a massive positive having Lavia back fit, and hopefully he can stay fit and give us a reason to dominate the midfield in tomorrow's match. But it is going to be tough because I think both teams understand what's at stake. Obviously, Villa are still heavily chasing their Europa League chances as well. They desperately want to win a trophy and also get into the Champions League next season. Whereas we have just completely, after the Leeds game, the Burnley game, the defeat to Arsenal recently, we need to pick up some points somewhere because as we keep saying on these videos, the games are coming thick and fast and they're also getting more tricky and more difficult with less games to play. You start looking at where you're going to get your points from, and we don't want to be scrambling when we get to the back end of April, those couple of games in May where we desperately need points. We desperately need points and we don't get them. So anywhere where we can pick up points, we're going to have to pick up points. Now, let's get straight into the tactics ball because I want to talk about what I think Liam Rosenior has to do to counteract anything that Unai Emery is going to try and do in tomorrow's game. Now, as you can see, I've gone with the last Villa lineup here with the team that they went out with in their last fixture. You can see here as well that some of the results that they've had. So they lost to Wolves only 3 days ago. It was a bad defeat for them. Wolves, who are down and out almost in the relegation battle, they lost to Wolves again. A draw with Leeds, a loss in the FA Cup, a win against Brighton, and a draw against Bournemouth 1-1. They haven't been playing the best football. They haven't been playing the best football. And one of the things that I think we need to focus on as well is the wins that they did pick up against Red Bull Salzburg. the win against Newcastle, the win against Fenerbahce as well. So they've been in a mixed bag of results so far this season. And I think, like I said, injuries to their squad at the moment currently tells me that this has to be one of the most perfect times to play them. I'd be very surprised if we don't get something out of this because Aston Villa, as much as Unai Emery is a very good manager, I do worry that they've fallen off a cliff. But what I will say to them, and I will give them their credit for this one, is I don't think it will be Ollie Watkins that starts their game. And I think they're going to bring in Tammy Abraham into this game. And I think he's going to be, I mean, what would be the odds that Tammy Abraham scores a goal against us, ex Chelsea player, a player that we almost said we didn't need at the club. We wanted him at the club. Me included, I wasn't a big fan of Tammy Abraham, but I would not be surprised if tomorrow evening he is celebrating in front of the whole end with a glorious goal because we are gifting goals away at Chelsea Football Club right now. Now, with Chelsea, in terms of what I think we will go with, I think we will have Sanchez in goal as always, who look didn't have the best of games against Arsenal. I think that's a given. I think if you ask any Chelsea fan how Sanchez has been this season, I think if we're being honest, he has improved. But then you have to look at the benchmark of what that improvement looks like, and it's not anywhere near what you would need as a David Raya or a Donnarumma or even Lemons. Manchester United is showing currently at the moment that playing out from the back against Arsenal was horrific. So if that's the way that Liam Rosenior is going to want his team to play against Aston Villa tomorrow, then he has to make sure that he's capable of playing out from the back because there was too many times against Arsenal where he doesn't look comfortable and there's no pressure from Arsenal. There's no player around him that's an Arsenal player and he still was under pressure somehow. So Sanchez has to deal with that very, very convincingly because if he doesn't, we're in trouble already because, as I said, if it is Buendia, Rogers, Sancho, and maybe Tammy Abraham pressing, and Tammy Abraham does like to do that. He loves to play off the last defender. So Sanchez in goal. I've gone with Reece James as the right back. I'm going to go with Trevor Chalobah, who I thought actually played very well. And I know I was very critical of the Chelsea players after the defeat to Arsenal, but I do feel that with Trevor Chalobah in that back line, he does support and help Reece James on that right hand side very well. Now, controversially, I've left Mamadou Sarr in the back line. I think Wesley Fofana, I think he's going to be in the majority of people's um, predicted lineups, but I don't think we can. This was my worry about throwing Mamadou Sarr in just in the FA Cup game and then just throwing him into a game against Arsenal. I think he should have been playing against Burnley, potentially against Leeds. I think he was available for that game as well. And to only see him come on and play the game against Hull City, which no disrespect to him is not a level of quality that you can assess how well Mamadou Sarr's going to do, and then throw him in for his first Premier League start against the one of the best informed teams. I think he's very harsh on Mamadou Sarr, who was at fault for one of the goals, at least one of the goals, maybe both. But I've kept Mamadou Sarr in the team. Now, Marco Correa is back. He is back in training. I just think one of the things I've noticed about Liam Rosenior, he loves to be very cautious and confident that his players are fully fit to start the game. And I'm not against that. I think that's probably the right approach to take, especially this part of the season where you don't want to lose players to injuries. Essentially, some key players like Cole Palmer, Moises Caicedo, Jarrell Heto has to come in for Marco Correa in this situation for me. Now, I've done something slightly different here because I think with the sending off of Pedro Neto on Sunday, and we know that Gittins and Estevao are out. I feel like there has to be a change tactically from Liam Rosenior in this game to get something out of it. Now, if we don't change anything and we see the same team and the same tactics and the same way that we've played pretty much most of the games under Liam Rosenior so far this season, I think we're going to lose the game. I think we have to bring some more solidity into our midfield because that's where we get overrun. And I said all of this against Arsenal before the game kicked off. We have to have some more just stability, just something that's. And I've gone with Caicedo in this situation. In that base, the interceptor, the one that cleans up if the ball comes through and it doesn't, makes its way through here. Caicedo is here. He's here. He's doing the dirty work. He's doing the dirty work. I I would have him at the base of a midfield three, and I would start Lavia. I want to see Romeo Lavia. I want to see Enzo Fernandez. I want to see both of those because look, and let's be honest, Enzo Fernandez has got a really good record against Aston Villa. He loves to play at Villa Park. Now, I've gone with those two in the midfield because I think Andre Santos did struggle against Arsenal at the weekend, and I felt like he was a bit out of his depth. Didn't retain possession of the ball well. And again, you can only maybe go off one game for that, but there has been other games where Santos has played really well. But I want to see what Lavia has to. Lavia is the new Reece James. Lavia is the new Reece James. And by that, I mean, last season and even some aspects of this season, we were constantly saying we've got to manage Reece James's minutes. We have to manage his minutes. He can only play so many games. We have to rotate him. And I feel like Lavia is in that situation now, but he's had a couple of games to come back in. As I said, he played in a development squad last week. He came on against Arsenal. Let's see how if he can do 60 to 70 minutes tomorrow night. Let's see if he can do 60 to 70 minutes tomorrow night. Let's see if he can do that. Because if he can, because we're going to need him. We're going to need him, Caicedo and Fernandez and Andre Santos over the next couple of weeks to try and get us over the line to get top four. Let's see if he can do the job for us in that midfield. The three that I've gone for up front, I've gone with Cole Palmer, who reluctantly have to start. He's injured. Cole Palmer is injured. He's injured. I don't think there's any way, shape, or form for us to even to dress that up. Cole Palmer is injured. We know that. We can see it. Cole Palmer's injured. He's not doing well this season at all. He went down against Arsenal. Liam Rosenior was asked about it in the press conference yesterday and almost shut down any injury concerns. But we'll find out tomorrow. If Cole Palmer's not in the lineup, please, someone get him the surgery that he needs. Because if he's not fit and he misses out on the England World Cup squad, there's going to be conversations I think to be had. Because arguably he should be one of those players that does go, and he might lose his spot to someone else who probably deserves it just as much as he does in that England squad. But if he's not fit, now is the time to take him out the team and get him fit because we're going to need him for next season. And what I don't want to do is he does end up on the plane to the World Cup. He comes back injured to us, and in the preseason, if he's having surgery and he's going to miss the the first half of the season for us. So if he needs the surgery now, we might need to take the hit now. That's all I'm saying on Cole Palmer. Now I've gone with Garnacho, who again reluctantly. I would have loved to have seen, a Jesse Derry who I went to see and watch play yesterday against Manchester United under 21s. I don't think he'll feature, but he's someone that I think we need to integrate. In fact, hold that thought. We're going to talk about the under 21s in a minute. But Lavia and Fernandez, Cole Palmer on the right, Garnacho on the left, because I think that's limited our options with no Esteval, no Gittins. Pedro Neto is now suspended, so it limits who we can play on that left-hand side. And I've gone with João Pedro up front. Again, someone who needs to be a workhorse for Ezri Konza and Pau Torres. We have to break down this Villa team. We have to break them down. I don't want to see any mistakes. I don't want to see any mistakes in this lineup from Liam Rosenior. I don't want to see any mistakes by the players on the pitch. This is a must-win game. And I say that a lot on this channel. But tonight, while I'm doing this, I'm telling you this is a must-win game. This is a 6-pointer. We have to win this game. If we don't, go and check our fixtures. Please. Let me know what you think about the preferred lineup. What would you change? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you see us confidently getting past Aston Villa and getting 3 points? I need to understand what you would change in that lineup. But as I say all that, I say this. I went to watch the under 21s last night against Manchester United under 21s. And we looked very good. We looked very, very sharp. And there's two players, in fact, three players, but mainly two. Reggie Walsh is definitely ready for the step up in the first team. Jesse Derry is certainly ready to play in the first team. And Mojeca is definitely ready to step up and play in the first team. I'm being honest. All three of those players yesterday, and I know it was only under 21s, but I'm telling you from now, Reggie Walsh, if he's not in our team next season, Reggie Walsh is ready to play first team football for us. And if there's a conversation to be had about whether Lavia can't stay fit, Andre Santos isn't up to the grade, and I know we've got other players coming in, but Reggie Walsh, his intelligence for the game at the age that he is, we got to start thinking about putting him into that first team because he would be an absolute addition to our midfield. This is where now some of these players that are in the team, currently in the first team, they need to start looking over their shoulder because there are players in that under 21 squad that are capable of playing in that first team. Genesis Antwi, another one. So I'm just saying, we've got players in our development squad that if we are not stupid enough to sell them, could easily break into our first team next season. Easily break into our first team next season, 110%. But back to the Villa game, we need to get 3 points. We need to get 3 points. And look, it's going to be tense. It's going to be a nervy, nervy night at Villa Park. But I'm gonna stay confident. I'm gonna go 2-1 Chelsea. I'm gonna go 2-1 Chelsea. I'm hoping for Palmer to step up. Even though he's injured, I need Cole Palmer to. I said it on Sunday, but I need Cole Palmer to step up in these moments. This separates you from just being one of the decent footballers to one of the top footballers that we talk about in this country. And Cole Palmer has to step up and do that tomorrow night. Get your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Share your preferred lineups in those comments as well. Linktree link is in the description, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video.